so welcome. Good morning. Thank you for joining this workshop. The workshop is called From Waste to World, Circular Renovation and Deconstruction Pathways for a Low Carbon Built Environment. My name is Louise, and I will moderate the session today. I am part of the Circular project. And first I want to start with an introduction round of all the speakers. So also joining from the Circular project is Margherita Fabri. She works at Rena Consulting and she's the coordinator of the Circular project. Then we have Marco Mori from Retard. He works at the InBuild project. And we have Anastasios Kalamedos from PwC in Greece. He's from the DeCO2 project, that's the Circular Sister project, so I'm very happy that we can connect this way. And we have Yasmin Saki from ICONS. She's here representing the Reconstruct project. Just a quick look at our agenda. So we start with the project introduction. So you will have a brief presentation from all of the projects that are present in this workshop. And then we wanted to have breakout sessions. We thought that we had another slot in this conference. So right now, I think we're a little, too little people to actually start breakout sessions. So we will see if people still join. We can still do that. Otherwise, we will just have a discussion all together, I think. And then we will have a group reflection and a short wrap-up to see what we discussed in this workshop today, and to see if we have found any synergies that we want to work on and something that we want to take away from this workshop. I had an icebreaker planned, so we can still do that if you like. It's a little bit also for waking up, because I would like to ask all of you to stand up if the following statement applies to you. So just a brief standing up to look around who's also here for the same course or on the same part of the world. So the first one is, I traveled more than 500 kilometers to come to this workshop. So this is, I think, the most that you can't answer just like that. The other ones will be easier, just for you to know. For example, I'm from Stuttgart, so I traveled more than 500 kilometers. If, for example, you came from Rome or further down, Italy is also more than 500 kilometers. So, okay. I work in the building sector.
Now or in the past?
You're standing anyway.
I work in the tech sector. A little bit.
Researcher of academia.
Well, if you do European projects, you also do research. So. This one, I think, all of us work in European projects.
It's becoming a bit exhausting. Please, I hope.
Sorry. And then the last one is, I prefer coffee over tea.
No.
Thank you. Now we want to start with the presentations, and I ask Margherita to join me on stage. If you want, you can have the presenter.
So, good morning, everyone. My name is Margherita Fabri, and I work for Rena Consulting. We are a consultancy company based in Italy, in Genova, and I am the technical coordinator of Circular project. Sorry, the other way. Okay. So Circular stands for Circular and Inclusive Innovation Strategies for Building Decarbonization, and the project aims to accelerate the decarbonization of the building sector. We are a partner. We are a consortium of 22 partners coming from 6 European countries, and we are working on the development, testing, and demonstration of different technologies and methodologies for the built environment. We are developing a circular platform that is at the core of our project. And this is an environment that includes different digital tools for buildings. We are different type of tools. One of the main achievement of the project is the circularity index assessment tool, and I will show you later. And also we are developing some innovative technologies and materials, so some high performance materials, carbon capture materials, and prefabricated materials. And we have two real-life demonstrators in Spain and Estonia, in which we will test our tools and methodology by the end of the project. The project started in June 2023, so we are now approaching the end of the first reporting period. So we are in the first stage of the project, we can say, in which we are developing all the methodologies and technologies. And in the first year, we will start the renovation of the demonstrators. So we are in a first phase, we can say. Sorry again. Okay, so the circular platform we are developing is an integrated digital environment to host different tools and data. The circularity index assessment tool is a tool based on a methodology created and tailored for this project by Rina and other partners involved in Work Package 1. And this methodology took in consideration different frameworks, existing frameworks, but also developed new algorithm and calculation to assess the circularity of materials, considering the life cycle assessment and other different methodologies to, let's say, identify an index to assess the circularity of material used for buildings, of course, for renovation or new construction. And then inside our ecosystem, we will integrate also geodatabase and marketplace to facilitate the local stakeholders to exchange secondary material, so reused materials coming from dismantled buildings to reuse it in new buildings, for example, windows or structural elements that can be reused. And then we will also include the comfort and energy tools, so a comfort evaluation tool to evaluate the comfort inside the building of the end user, and also an hydrothermal evaluation tool to understand the hydrothermal conditions inside the buildings, and to understand also how to renovate the building in order to enhance the comfort of the end users, that of course are the pillar of our methodologies. And the benefit from the circular platform would be the digitalization to ensure a better decision-making process, and also the scalability of the renovation processes that aim to achieve a circular building and a sustainable building. Sorry, I cannot understand it. Okay. So as I was saying, we have two lighthouses demonstrator, one in Spain that is a large public building renovation with focus on material use. I couldn't use the photos of the demonstrators in the presentation because we are now in the process of changing the demonstrator. So in the proposal, we included one demonstrator from Spain and Estonia that we couldn't use anymore in the project. And we are changing the demonstrator now with the project officer. So the new demonstrators are not still official, let's say. And then in Estonia, we have an apartment block renovation improving energy efficiency technologies and circularity materials, so reuse materials. And then we also have two replication demonstrator in Greece, where we want to develop highly replicable decarbonisation pathways for schools, because in Greece the public schools are of four types mainly, and so it would be easy to develop a strategy to renovate all the schools that are very old buildings and need renovation at the moment. Developing some replication strategy that could be used in all the schools across the country. And in Germany, we want to test the replicability of circular approach in non-residential buildings, in one building from the KIT campus in Germany that is characterized by different construction techniques, because this building is made with wood technique, and we want to apply circular methodology and tools to a completely different type of building. And in terms of replication strategy, we focus on living labs methodology for co-creation with stakeholders. So we engage the stakeholders, the main stakeholders of the project from the first stage of the project, so from the first months. And we analyze the different stakeholders, we categorize them, and we are now trying to engage them from the beginning, because this is essential to develop technologies that really work in the real world after the project is finished. And this is, I think, the main scope of Horizon Europe projects. And we also are developing regulatory sandboxes task, let's say, to understand early in the project which are the potential barriers of the implementation of our technologies in the real world, to understand so the policy regulation that is very fragmented in Europe, and this is very difficult to understand how we can implement innovative technologies once the project is finished. And we will, of course, also develop business models and benchmarking solutions for a wider adoption of circular innovations once the project is finished. So this is just an overview of the project, of course. As I was saying, we are in a first stage, but we achieved, I think, very interesting results in the first 17 months. We developed the framework methodology in the work package, in the first work package of the project, and this was very successful. We are now developing all the software technologies and hardware technologies. We've also a large part of testing in UPC laboratories and Altec laboratories, and we are approaching the demonstration phase. That is, I think, the most critical one of this kind of project. But I hope that we will go on in this way as successful as possible. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Margarita. So the next presentation is deco2. So this is the Circular Sister Project.
Yeah, the sister project, yes. So, good morning to all. I'm Anastasia Karameros, coming from PwC Greece, representing deco2. And from the whole project that we will show you some key points. I would like to urge you I will try also to connect the dots between these two projects, because we have so many things in common. And I think that as we are coming from Greece, the pilots in schools would be pretty much of our interest. So it would be also a good point of interaction between these two projects. Yeah. So, in regards to deco2, and in order to align with today's workshop, I would like to stress out three of the project objectives that we have that are related to showcasing the circular and technological innovations in regards to the decarbonization of the building environment. We are trying also, and we are fostering the social innovation by a people-centered, inclusive, and creative and participatory process, which is in the process of being finalized and rolled out to the pilots. And what we are trying to do also is to demonstrate the effectiveness and availability of innovative digital solutions. How we do it, and why we are discussing about a framework, because of the fact that we have three distinct pillars: the technological, the social, and the policy pillar, that we think that they have to be interconnected, both with the utilization of technology and the interaction between project partners, technological partners, but also the end users, as you might have already seen that. But in order to do that, we have to have something like a backbone. And this is the actual essence of the discussion that we would like to bring in, and we think that it adds up to the discussion that we had and the presentation of the circular project. And what is it? It is the digital product passport. For us, we think it is an integral part of the whole work that we are doing, because we try to enclose as much information, but also integrate the interaction that we have with the whole value chain, from the procurer, like of the industrial waste, of the construction waste, like from the demolition, towards the rebuilding, the renovation. All the way, information are being included in the digital product passport and are being included by the different stakeholders. So this is when we are discussing about engagement and the way to keep everyone on engaged in a specific project. We think that part of this work can be done through such processes, because you will see that in the last slide, we try also to integrate in this digital product passport process part of the reward. So the reward comes with the engagement, comes with the reward when is applied in the right way. In regards to the project now, some key figures. The fact is that we are 17 partners coming from 8 EU countries. The project is a 48-month duration project. We are also running the same duration at our 17th month, and we are going to have, or we are having, 3 demos, and of course the funding is funding of 7 million euros. What we are trying to do, and another important element that we try to integrate within our project, is the regulatory sandboxes. You mentioned earlier that we have different policies applied in different EU countries. This is a challenge. So when we're discussing about demolition, when we're discussing about reusability of materials, we have different problems in different countries. So we have to find a way that we keep out the national regulation that prohibits us to proceed with our work, and try to find what can be done in order to streamline the process, and then see what or how we can overcome the challenges. So we are building up, or we are having 3 regulatory sandboxes, one in Spain, one in Austria, and one in Ireland, trying to see exactly what can be done in order to, as I mentioned, make things simple, but also have in mind that we need to work things out in the whole process, from the demolition up to the renovation, the use of the materials. What we are going also to do is to populate our digital product passport with data about materials from different other countries, like the Netherlands, Germany, and of course Greece, where we would like to have a big network of stakeholders. That's another point of interaction between our projects, because we would like to integrate as many people, as many representatives, in order to see the materials, the flow of the materials, and of course the possibility of reuse within the same country. So this is a point also for invitation to our activities that will come to the next year. Yeah, this is a kind of a representation about how we would like to see the material passport, which is the digital product passport, as being presented in the regulation, and where we see it in the process that we have seen and we have described in the project. We would like to integrate all the material info from, of course, the capturing of the actual case, what's there in the demolition of a building, and what can be done actually in regards to characterization, processing, and of course, possibly rebuilding of new materials. And that can be enclosed in the material digital product passport, which, when considering new products, can be turned to a new product digital product passport, and of course with the integration of the digital twin, because everything is digital, so it's ready to be read by a machine, can be used for different use case scenarios, what-if scenarios, and have an optimization that could lead to the eventual installation of the new materials, and of course having an idea prior to the actual renovation, what can be done, what's the benefits, and of course having the actual implementation of the pilots. So it is a hybrid, an activity of hybrid importance, because it's on the digital layer, but also affects the physical layer a lot, because we have also the interaction, as I mentioned, and you will see that in the next slide. Yeah. In the next slide, with our digital product passport, in the screen, in the mock-up there, you can see how it looks like the template of the digital product passport at the moment. If you, and please do, scan the QR code, you will see a template of a digital product passport. And of course, it is a point of interaction for the later for the workshop to see what should be there, what can be also there, and we can add, or what we can do differently in the future. And what we are also trying to do, as I mentioned, is to integrate a little bit the reward and interaction between the different stakeholders. So we mentioned that in 3 countries we want to populate with more data from different materials. So what we are going to also like to see is to motivate the stakeholders, because they might be linked with the project, they might not be linked with the project, and this is why we are going to make our extraversional activities there, to link them with rewards of different types. We can discuss, we can have some ideas, of course, in order to have more data, so to have more actual materials that can be used in the actual renovation that we will run during the project. But coming a little bit a little bit back on the material, the digital material, the digital product passport. We have the regulation, of course, in December 2019. We had the Green Deal, which has a specific focus, but it was also linked to the Circular Material Action Plan, so which dictated that somehow we have to reuse materials in greater percentages, and with this way we will also reduce the waste that we have from different processes, with construction being one of the top ones, due to the fact that if you see the list of the 7 materials that are available or are approved for reuse, we will see that the vast majority of them are used in the construction. So we have the Eco-Design for Sustainable Product Regulation coming on the July of 2024 that dictated the creation of these digital product passports, and they are coming as a common practice from 2030 onwards. So what we are trying to do, and what we would like to urge through our project, is the fact that we should be ready in order for this new normality to be ready in order to use such tools along with the rest of the tools, because we are also utilizing digital twin technology, we are also utilizing 3D printing, we are also utilizing robotic technologies in order to both on the demolition side, but also on the use with the development of new materials. So what we think that it would be also a good point for interaction, or an additional point of interaction between our projects, and of course this could be a good point for discussion during, I think that we will have some breakout after all. It would be great to see what information should be also added to the core technical information that we have based on a BIM let's say, model to the digital product passport, how we can integrate these two points of data, and how this can be turned to an additional benefit. So, last but not least, we have to understand that having a digital product passport, we have to align it or link it with blockchain technology. You have to have like a validated way that this information is valid, is there, and it is not being handled in any other way rather than the way that the person that originate included or created the information wanted. So another point is that we have the integration of smart contracts, blockchain technology with a different way, like the typical blockchain works with an IoTA blockchain, which is not a blockchain that works with mining. It's more or less it's structured in a different way, that it's not also requesting this amount of energy to be consumed. So all in all, please do consider see what is there at the moment, because as we mentioned, we are running through our 17th month of the project. We are intending to roll out the digital product passport, and through this workshop, we would like to see what we can do better, how we can integrate it, or how we can take many ideas from the other projects in order to make it better, because this will be our point of interaction. And hopefully it will be one, let's say, additional thing that we bring to the table for the new proposals, for the new project that might end up working together. So thank you, I think, from my side, and we pass to Ingrid.
So questions come at the end of everything, or after your presentation?
If you have something, a short question, we can also do that right now. I don't think that we have questions online.
No questions online.
So
Okay.
if you like, go ahead.
Then can I put one? Yeah, I was interested in understanding the point of view of the project and yours about the relationship between the digital building logbook and the digital product passport.
Mm-hmm.
So how do you see them connected? To what extent?
Actually, in the building logbook, you have the materials from the building perspective, but in the actual product passport, you have the material, you have the whole value chain, the whole story of the material, not the actual structural elements or where it has been built, or anything that is related to the BIM model that you have. You have where did it was from where it was goes from the demolition side, how far it had to travel in order to be reused. Like you have some ceramics that have been broken and they have been turned to new ceramics, like mosaic. So you have an idea about where it was the demolition, how far it has to travel, and how far it has to travel.
But this is clear. I was wondering if you see or in the project are kind of planning that one is part of the other, or it's going to be
actually
separate things.
The thing is that the project is discussing about the decarbonisation framework. So this example that I'm trying to say is the fact that when we're discussing about decarbonisation, we have to think the carbon emissions that also the material that you use might have, both for the production but also for the transferring and the use. So in that way, you integrate the emission factors, or let's say the emission avoidance, if you are working for different ways of an LCA, for example, you integrate both model-related aspects and also the digital product passport ones.
Okay.
Thank you. Okay, thank you. Hello, everybody. Good morning. Marco Mori from LEITAT. LEITAT is a technological center in Spain. I will explain you briefly this InBuild project, who is coordinated by University of Côte d'Azur, and also what we are doing in this project and why we will have this breakout session later. No, it's the other. Okay. Well, the InBuild project is like most of the European project is as a consortium of It's 19 partners from different point of view now of the construction sector. We have producers of construction products. We also have technology project center and universities. And we will demonstrate our solutions in 4 real demos, which are in France, Germany, UK, another one in Germany. What we are going to do? What we are going to do in this project is develop or improve new and more sustainable construction products, like second life photovoltaic panels, ceramic block, straw clay boards, a lot of bio-based products, and also smart windows or recycled blocks. So it's a bit different from the budget we see in the previous presentation, because the main focus here is to improve construction products. So this is the core of the project, and we try to cover all the elements of buildings so that we can provide new and more sustainable materials to build or renovate our buildings. But apart from the development of these materials, in the project there will be developed also a digital platform, which ETEC, one of the partners, is developing. And inside this platform, we're going to also provide to the users information about urban mining initiatives that are going on in Europe, to inspire or give example of what can be done to improve the reuse of recycled materials or construction demolition waste to be reused in new construction or renovation. So from LATAT, one of our tasks in this project, because we have different groups involved, one of the tasks is to map existing initiatives of urban mining in Europe and provide this information to be deployed in this platform. But what is urban mining? It's a concept, no? That has been developed not so it's not so new, because already in the late 60s there was this movement about sustainability, and where the environmental science started. There was this idea that we could take advantage of all the materials that we were piling in our cities, and try to get back and put it back into the economy. So we can see our urban area as mines. This is the concept. So we can mine our cities or urban areas to get back these materials and produce new products or reuse these materials. This is the concept, no? That is quite related with circularity, of course. So to do so, what we did, we planned a series of workshops where we asked participants to give us their feedback and information, and try to map these initiatives that are going on, and maybe most of us should know of one of them. So later we will we will see if we can do this breakout session, if we can collect new information. And also, apart to map these initiatives and the stakeholders related with this initiative, we are also trying to see which barriers or opportunities we found that would help us to provide information to replicators or anyone who wants to try to take on one of these circularity projects or initiatives. So we will see later. There was one last thing. And then from all this information that we collect, we will provide a public deliverable that is a database of all these initiatives that we found. This is an example of initiatives that we mapped in another workshop. And in November, so in a month more or less, we will publish a complete database of all the information we collected about these urban mining initiatives. So if you are interested, we can see later more things. Okay? Thank you.
Reconstruct. Hello, I'm Yasmin. I work with Icons. It's a no-profit and also consultancy based outside Milan in Lodi. And we are not a technical partner per se. Usually we have a department of social innovation, which I'm from, business innovation and communication and dissemination. So we are those kind of partners that are cross-cutting in the project and bothers everybody else for inputs. I'm here today to present Reconstruct. Reconstruct is a project very similar to the others that you guys have just heard about. We were trying not to overlap with each other in the presentations, but some things are very similar. So first of all, what is Reconstruct? The title says it all. It's a territorial construction for a circular, low-carbon built environment. So we want to make materials that are more sustainable, that are circular, that come, as Marco just said, from the cities, in our case with the collection and the analysis of construction and demolition waste. And we are trying to see if you can make new materials that are more sustainable, new construction materials that are more sustainable. These materials should be low carbon, and they should come in part from construction and demolition waste. We are looking also at modular and reusable components. Of course, as everybody, we want to achieve, hopefully, zero construction waste and material recovery as high as possible, and we want to reduce greenhouse gases emissions. The approach is like for the other projects, very circular. We are trying to demonstrate it in 2 sites, one in Barcelona and one in Belgium. We will have some demos there. And for what concerns the consortium, we are 16 partners. We started as Circular and DeCO2 in June 2023. It's a 42-month project, and we will end in May 2027. Again, I am trying not to overlap with what has been said before by my colleagues. We do have a work package dedicated to the digital product passport. We are also developing a stakeholder platform, a little different from Circular, but the idea, we have some ideas in common, and we are also trying to apply some urban mining concepts. But I'm here to put your focus on the social innovation side of the project. We had a challenge in Reconstruct. When we wrote the proposal, we wrote very general stakeholder engagement ideas, co-creation, talking to people. And then when we started to work in it, we had to change a bit our ideas, because our demos will be demonstrators of the materials. They will not have people in it. We are not talking to citizens. We are not talking to residents. And in order to engage stakeholder groups that are construction and demolition companies, engineers, architects, the industry at large, we need a slightly different approach rather than talking to citizens and residents. So we developed, we are still developing a methodology that is called the dynamic learning agenda. What is the dynamic learning agenda? It's a headache. and we are still trying to figure it out. But basically, the idea is that we are learning as we go, but we are learning with the stakeholder groups that we are working with. And also the idea is that we are not learning per se, but they are helping us learning, and they also change their learning experience as they work with us. Again, a mess. So we have two different hubs, two different groups, one in Barcelona and one in Brussels, that are very different because the dynamics of the construction sectors in two countries, they differ. You cannot have similar approaches. You cannot expect even that priorities are similar in two countries that are so different. So we are building through a dedicated work package those hubs, we call it hubs, where construction sector practitioners and technicians can talk with each other, can exchange knowledge, can exchange barriers, and can also help us overcome those barriers and make sure that the objectives of Reconstruct are the correct one for then influencing the policies at the EU level. And I have some colleagues here, so if I'm saying anything wrong, you can jump in. We have tried to engage those two hubs via dedicated invites at the beginning with a workshop online where we presented the objectives of Reconstruct. And then we were trying to make them help us to prioritize what we call learning questions. The learning questions are similar to the objectives that we write in the proposals, the overall objectives, the strategic objectives. We rephrase them as learning questions, and we divided them in the main themes that are important for Reconstruct. So construction and demolition waste, policy, digitalization. We had this first workshop online. We had them through Mentimeter, it was back then, prioritize those learning questions, and we figure out already there that Barcelona and Brussels have different priorities. Well, the construction sector practitioners in the two cities have different priorities in regards to what we do. We don't have the same things we care about. And then we are refining those learning questions in the workshop that we are doing every 6 months, close to the General Assemblies. So we are there, we invite people, we have dedicated session, we prepare some very user-friendly canvas, and we try to make them think if the question that we are posing ourselves is a digital product passport relevant, is I don't know, a mixture of concrete coming from construction and demolition waste, as efficient, as strong as the traditional one. If all these questions that we are trying to develop in the project are actually relevant for them. So opening up this kind of discussion help us refine a little bit the priorities. We are bound by the rent agreement, like everybody, but at least we're trying to ensure that the research goes in the right way and reflect the priorities of the people who really work in the sector. Sometimes there is I will say there is not a fracture, a little distance between research and practice. And with this way of iteratively asking engineers, the architects, the people who work in the sector, is what we do, what we are doing relevant for you? We are trying to ensure that the project stays on track, and also that keeps its relevancy in a world where we are also asked to try to influence policies at the European level or try to help them being heard at the local level. So this is the dynamic learning agenda. It's a living framework, it's iterative, it's a headache, it's co-created with stakeholders, and it's keep changing. So the questions will they will evolve, hopefully, in those 2 years, and they will help the researcher and all the other partners of the project to slightly adjust if needed and if we are able to. We are trying to make it as collaborative as possible. Again, Brussels and Barcelona have very different spirits. I'm Italian, it's a headache to make something participatory in Italy. I thought that Barcelona will be the same. Actually, Barcelona participants were very active and very interested in opening a dialogue with us. So that was something very interesting for me, and that gave me hope. And we are also through this learning framework that is a very new concept. It's a new methodology. We are not only trying to implement it, but we are also monitoring it. So we have the usual stuff with KPIs, with data. We are trying to have a proper M&E process to see if this DLA, this dynamic learning agenda, is itself going in the right direction. Thank you very much. I hope this wasn't so boring or so different from what you have heard so far. And back to Luis for the next.
Yeah, thank you very much to the 4 speakers that we just heard. We heard 4 very different approaches for a topic that interests us all, to decarbonize the building sector and to reuse materials that are used in the building sector. When we planned this workshop, we thought it would be very interesting to have 3 different breakout rooms. So to have 3 different groups discussing, one with the focus of digital tools, one with a focus on urban mining, and one with a focus on stakeholder engagement. So as you can see on the slide, we thought we would go outside with a bigger group, but I think looking at the group we are right now, we can do this here. And I would suppose that we have one breakout session here, one over there, and one here. So you can just choose whatever topic you would like to discuss and take your chair and go to the person that will moderate the session. So I think the digital tools, we can meet over there, next to Anastasios. And then the urban mining strategies, we'll meet over here with Marco. And then the stakeholder engagement with Yasmin, we'll meet over there. And we will have 20 minutes, and then we will come back again to see what we discussed in the sessions, to have us more, like if you participated in one session, but you're also interested in another topic, you will get to know what they discussed about very briefly, so that we can all take away something from this workshop. Thank you.
Small group. It's good to know.
Well, in build. And working in this year this year. So yeah, it was like a week and I'm looking at these are my presentation. Very interesting and I see
So, I have made some other points to 2 points. Now we have 4. I don't know from where we start. I have some. Yeah, actually, it is it folds up the material from, let's say we have a demolition here. We have the system of what is the material. We have the research on what and then we have development of the material. So until here, we have the material. And then when you have done the research on what is material, you are starting to have the product shows the new material, the new product. And then you go out to renovation. So what we are trying to do is to, let's say, have the history of from where the material was up to the renovation. And when we are discussing, when you are working on renovation, you have to have this scope 3, whatever you can call it, emissions. Because these are also have to be emissions impact that the has. So that's why we started with 3 country pilots, which are Ireland, Spain, France, Austria. But as we have different countries in the solution, we're trying to find more problems in order to see what's there and what can we can do in order to utilize another renovation. So that's the way that we thought it initially. I think that this is the way that it will be put into practice, actually. And if you have the opportunity, you will see, yeah, it's a template actually, it's not from an actual project, but it's a template that says, the information pictures, people, stakeholders, different stakeholders, how it was transported, for example, by bus, by freight, by truck, or by plane, which what's the distance, so you can understand what's the impact, or what can be done. And of course, material related information, because for example, you have some ceramics that are being broken here, like lines or something, not for immediately use here. You even break them more in order to make them smaller and to make them size. And after a reset, because you can do this, you can come here and create new mosaic tiles with mortar and tiles that are, for example. So you can have new tiles here that can be used in the renovation. And you have like the whole history from where, when, and where the people that actually done the work. So you have also pictures. And with these pictures, if they are good, if they are of quality, if they are showing the information that you want, you can reward the people that So you have also some engagement because you are integrating the process of the logistics, which is a very, let's say, boring process. You are also incorporating some engagement elements that are also very important because it serves it has been conceptualized.
Quindi c'è un tema
Questi materiali
construction materials to avoid the waste and to avoid the reduction of materials.
It's not about get results, it's about
Do you think there's a process the first stage of the project, we order to collect your information and then after
L'idea è di riutilizzarli in tempo anni, cioè nel senso le anime di acciaio, l'idea è di riutilizzarli così.
Sorry for that, just to mention that during this process here there is also validation in different aspects like health, well-being, and this is included. The thing is that, for example, when we are building a new product, for example, this ceramic, which is a very clear example. The ceramic tile, it has different tiles like inside, but there is a mortar. So you're also following up the information about this material, the mortar material. So
Quello che si tende a utilizzare per fare questi
you
progetti
can work this example, this process for example, for this and I think when discussing about decarbonisation, for example,
riesci a smontare nella
demolition
demolizione lasciando lì.
How much did you pay?
because it's a matter of essence.
Tu sai qualcosa? Che lì l'idea è di riutilizzarlo
oppure l'arredamento poi abbiamo tre vesti a volte c'è contiene tante le impurities abbiamo tre di legno.
When discussing about decarbonization, when we are building the framework, like for example, and we are considering methodologies like the they are also considering emissions. That's why I gave them the same path. Because when you are applying some new materials, you know their characteristics, you think that they are
anche le bozze. Sei interessato solo agli edifici o anche ad altri ambiti?
Poi c'è anche digital, però non è parla una startup. Innovation.
Questo progetto l'utilizzo di materiali.
I think that this is part of the discussion that I went
Sostanzialistica per costruire altre panchine, nel senso,
quindi non so se there are other technologies. Ideas of
Com'è che è il voto contro io?
As we mentioned, we have an agreement. We can go up to a point, but this can be.
Io devo però dice che questo è molto
Privati, ma diciamo. Mi domando, ma la Commissione europea non ha interesse, perché ho visto che tutti questi prodotti diciamo, non sono uguali, sono simili a tanti punti. Ci interessa organizzare lei, non fa dei punti si ritrova i problemi qua sono molto vicini, alcune cose adesso si vede di più, queste cose fare in modo che arrivare alle soluzioni completamente diverse, è bene che sia così, perché poi dopo diciamo si contaminino molto di più. Magari hanno fatto così, è una buonissima idea, anzi migliore la mia, la prendo e la applico. Così andate avanti in maniera senza troppi connessioni, però le soluzioni che si arrivano sono meno buone che se si fosse contaminato. Obbligatoriamente, tante volte il task dedicato a il livello di elaborazione non sempre è così alto. Questa cosa di uno dei facciamo insieme e così abbiamo sì, l'avete fatto voi di vostra spontanea. Se la commissione istituisse in maniera più
le fanno
le fanno dall'alto.
non è che tipo tanti sono via
Ah, ok. Sì,
And
il concetto è che questi progetti qua, il vostro innovation, cioè nascono come delle idee, cioè voglio dire, c'è l'università che sta facendo quello, non è che poi dire la metà progetto, no guarda, quella funziona meglio, cioè quello ha un e poi l'idea in teoria, però secondo me, poi assorbito dal mercato, c'è finanziamenti privati, però in Europa quel passaggio non c'è solito, però l'idea in realtà ci sta, cioè finanzi 10 idee che sono la stessa progetto, ma in modo diverso e poi
o magari vogliamo simili, non è un problema, però va benissimo che ci siano tante cose.
stanno provando a fare un po' ormai tanti progetti voi siete in progetto
No, però non lo so.
hanno i task di sistema, non so se
Sì,
poi voglio dire, quelli che sì, si limita.
ma non è sistemico, quindi non è sistemico.
Nei live sì, sono quelli più invece STRL alto, cioè un mezzo strumentato, le metodologie, gli approcci, e lì i progetti sono identici, perché loro ogni anno mettono la stessa identica cosa, cioè più vanno a vedere il tempo storico, eccetera, e lì sì, ci sono dei meeting che la commissione organizza tutti i coordinatori per allinearsi, però lì appunto non ci sono le idee innovative dietro, c'è più metodologie.
Projects we have also insights from them to understand better in different countries who were supporting our project, how the procedures required for the requirements work in the country, and to understand how we can overcome the barriers in the future.
Could you quite quickly recap what you mentioned the technology? So circular produces new technologies for innovation. That's what I understand. But then recap quickly.
We try to clarify goals and make sure that all the perspectives they are not merging, but they are diverse. So we are sure that
costruttivo, decostruttivo,
they all
nel senso
work
che come smontare, recuperare su
Ci sono però
Very innovative that is
and then
evaluate
like roundtable work here. Just setting up a question and then
come possiamo estrarre
Faccio un esempio. Il cazzo deve essere situazioni per se anche quelle operazioni che vengono dai materiali riciclati che possono essere utilizzati con le aziende di assicurare almeno con i nuovi materiali, quello è importante.
questo si chiama deconstruction, è più facile quando abbiamo uno piccolo peccato.
Però se vogliamo utilizzare questi materiali qua, probabilmente quelli più larghi sono in un altro modo.
Questo si chiama deconstruction. Puoi applicare un modo su un edificio che puoi mettere con legno è un po'
Ma noi facciamo molto interessati preparare
Sì, 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 sì.
Cosa stato di fatto come esistono anche queste stampe come costruire il nuovo in funzione del futuro, non fa parte del futuro, quindi è più quello che
My question actually, I would like to also ask you about what we saw as a example in DeCO2, for example, and we have having another project is development
people who mentioned before,
you are building a glider, so there should be some professionals who Poi quanto localmente non solo i due district, non è che puoi dire darò, devo costruire non so, un ufficio che viene ricostruito a Rho, cosa che lo puoi dire.
Una volta che tu ci sono queste lavori di esplorazione, questi materiali ci sono
You were so flexible the whole time, but now you're starting. Come on, guys, you have to make decisions. Eventually, we even created a mess.
che avranno una previsione di
Questo deve essere fatto diffuso nella larga scala.
We're nearly done with our workshop, so thank you for taking part. I wanted to come together to have a short reflection at the end to see what we discussed. We also made a Menti, so if you want, you can just scan the code and then share with us what sparked your interest the most. And I would also like to ask the three breakout discussion moderators to just share one or two insights from the discussion that you would like to share with the whole group.
Maybe I can start?
Yasmin, you can.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. So we're talking about challenging. Is it to find the right way to engage and involve people in our projects? And I think if I can highlight 2 or 3 points, one is the importance of contextualization. Every country is different, every region is different. So there is not, okay, it's a buzzword, one size fits all, but you really need to think and to adapt the strategies for the stakeholder groups you're working with in the place you're working with. And then we have examples of two approaches. There is not right or wrong. One is like having activities per each stakeholder groups and trying to get their needs and concerns in a way rather or having stakeholders from different working groups for different groups in the same room and be involved at the same time. And I think one interesting definition, or difference in definition from Valerie was engagement and involvement, where engagement is on site, for example, with residents, and then you come if I'm saying something wrong, and involvement instead puts a focus on the iteration of the activity. So you don't only come at the end and hope with one or two activity that your product or your technology, your innovation is just accepted, but you build journey, sorry for the poetry of it, during the project, during the product development, and you have an iteration of activities and of involvement of the stakeholders you're working with, I think.
Thank Yes,
It was a good summary. Thank you.
Anastasia or Margarita, I don't know.
Would you like to start?
Okay. So we discussed with Anastasius and sorry, I don't remember.
It's okay, I didn't present, but Hannah.
Okay, about digital tools for circular technologies, and we discussed a lot about the digital product password. That is a very interesting innovation, and is also connected to our work in circular, because I think one thing we discussed during yesterday's workshop that was linked to this discussion is that reusing materials coming from demolished buildings, for example, in new buildings is something that we need to do at the moment because we cannot produce more waste. But we also have to be sure that the materials we use are safe, also for healthy reasons. And having something like the digital product password will ensure that the materials we are using are safe, because it tracks where the materials came from, how they've been tested and treated, and that would be the key to reuse materials in a safe way. And I think this could be the future. Also with our technologies developed, for example, in a circular project and other similar project to reuse materials in the construction sector and to achieve the European goals for next year. Thank you.
Maybe the last point, just the link between training and the use of digital tools, because we saw that we have some slow, let's say, addition or slow moving towards the digital technologies from the authorities, like the regional local authorities. So we think that we should integrate to all the extra-regional activities that we have some training also that is already in circular, but we can also work together and let's say amplify the impact, because it's one way to present tools, but also to have some demo and some training activities, because it's also important for the people that they will actually use it after the project life cycle.
So we can see
Yes.
that stakeholder engagement is also for the digital tools.
Yes,
something
this
that
is
would be very,
connected to
yeah.
what Yasmin was saying, that it's very important to communicate with the stakeholders during the project, because developing some interesting technologies, but not sharing them in the right way, in the correct way, won't allow a very wide impact of the project. So, for example, including a training session with construction workers or technicians, architects, engineers, or also public administration that will use the tools in the after the project is finished, is a solution to stream the results of the project.
And Marco, would you like to add something about urban mining
yeah.
initiatives?
Well, actually, we spent quite of the time to agree on what is this urban mining.
Okay.
So we discussed a bit which steps exist on the urban mining. What do we mean with that? And also we found I don't know, from a point of view, a lack of coordination among all these projects that was highlighted by Pietro, because he came from another sector, let's say, no? Pietro.
Yeah.
So actually, we could, in general, no, as European project partners, try to do this more often, no, and try to exchange knowledge, so to enhance on the innovation process in general. And then we went back to urban mining, and actually we found that there are still a lot of normative barriers for the actual implementation of reuse or direct reuse of construction demolition waste. We also discussed about the importance of introducing from the design phase this view of circularity, so the importance of the design for demolition concept. Still, we see now an opportunity of scaling this solution and try to create more example to ease the process of encourage new adopters and new initiatives.
Okay, thank you.
And if you want, add more positive if you have in mind any initiatives that can be called urban mining, you can add it, or also important stakeholders that you know that are working on urban mining or circularity in buildings. You can add, I will really appreciate that. Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
So, also from my side, a big thank you to all of you. We're at the end of this workshop. I hope you can take something for your work, something for new networks, that you have something new that you learned today, or some new aspects, some new, a different perspective that you saw today. If you want to have a look at our different projects, feel free to scan the QR codes. If you want to know more, I think all of us, we are around, so just ask us. And yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you.